Hello, Scott here, and I am back again for another completely unprofessional unboxing. And today's package is not going to be new for some of you. It's not a Kickstarter or anything that's come out relatively, um, recent amount of time, but it's something personal to me. Not only how I got it, but the reason why I got it, and we'll go into that in a minute as soon as I open it up. So, here we go. We got my trusty Coleman camping knife here that one day will no doubt cut off something. And just make it nice and easy. I prepared this because these U.S. Postal Service boxes are a pain in the butt. It would have been 30 minutes of me struggling with it, so this one's a bit prepared. And very, very wonderfully wrapped here. Once again, I can hear some people cringing with this completely dull 12-year-old camping knife barely cutting through bubble wrap. But when you get to a certain point, you can just tear it open. And, wow, okay. Well, 10 out of 10 for packaging, and soon you'll know why. By part 3. Holy shit. And up and around. Start the struggle. There. And we're done. See you next time. So, all right, now we've got to get through the third layer of hell. Whoop. All right. But I'm not really complaining because there's a reason. Okay. Once more. Okay. You are freaking kidding me. Oh, once again, I can't complain, but, good to know that if the plane transporting this went down in the Atlantic Ocean, that centuries from now, someone wouldn't be able to open this and it would be in pristine, perfect condition. So, here we are, finally the reveal, and there we are. Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea. Now, why would someone be getting this at this point in time, especially with the 3E Kickstarter just kicking off? Well, for a lot of reasons, but first off, how I went ahead and got this, I didn't pay any of the collector prices. This is something that's out of print, is no longer available on the publisher's site, and very hard to locate online. And if you do find it, it is for a tremendous amount of ridiculous collector prices, which usually get associated with books that become out of print. But just by chance, just by luck, who knows? Jeffrey Talanian, the author of this book here, posted something on Facebook a while back, essentially stating that there was a company called Black Blade Publishing. They had the last remaining few of these in their inventory, and they were trying to sell them for a bit of a markup. I'm not exactly sure how much it was, but whatever the price was, no one was purchasing them, so they decided to go ahead and allow these to go for the suggested retail price, of which Jeff Talanian posted on his Facebook group page, or whatever company page, and the first 6 people, because they had 6 available, who went ahead and said, give it to me. The message would be sent to Black Blade Publishing, and the winners would get this particular version for retail cost. I happen to be number 2, just by luck. I don't normally, peruse through some of these groups. Most of that passes me by during the day. It is social media after all, and you're not going to catch everything. But by sheer luck, I was able to catch this. Now, why this matters so much to me, once again, because the 3rd edition is coming out. But this particular version is something that I've been wanting for some time, and that reason being is there's a group that I've been playing with for well over a year now. Answered a random call on the OSR, or one of the OSR groups on Facebook, and to just a cold call, asked to join, a couple spots open. I applied, got on board, and thus began a wonderful, well over a year and going campaign of some of the best people that I have met online in the gaming community. Not only that, but once COVID hit and we were stuck at home, like so many others of us were, and online gaming tend to take off and become more of a reality and a necessity for some, as opposed to just something you would do on occasion, or only would do if you had to, if your group was non-existent or broke up and you were looking for other ways to play. But this became a bi-weekly and soon thereafter weekly oasis of not just escapism into the game, but just hanging out with some of the most awesome gents that you can imagine. I mean, maybe it was pure luck. Sometimes gaming groups get together and there's 1 or 2 people that may not be a perfect mix, but it was just a wonderful thing to look forward to with all of these guys, to be able to come hang out and game with them for 3 to 4 hours every Saturday or every other Saturday or whenever we can play. When those who couldn't make it were gone, they were sorely missed, and when we got back, it was like a party of seeing a friend that you haven't seen for a while, and it's still going strong to this day. So a quick shout out to them before I just page through this real quick. Andy, Josh, Nate, Brad, and Jonathan. Every one of you guys have my eternal gratitude for being my anchor of sanity out of the small amount that I had during the COVID lockdown. That this particular game will always be cherished, even if the day comes where we're not playing anymore. That because of this game, I was able to weather the storm that was the COVID lockdown, and just seeing and playing with these guys every week is, I should say, absolutely spectacular. So thus, when I saw this pop up and became available, knowing full well that the 3 is coming out, being backwards compatible that it is, I still wanted to grab this one because this is the one that will always be near and dear to my heart because of those guys in the game that we continue to play. So I'm just going to go ahead and do just a quick page through, and that'll be it for this one. This will definitely be going right next to my computer because we still use it, and we'll continue to use it as we go along. And like many that have come before it, it is a beast of a book. Some of the most wonderful artwork in any core rule book or any other book out there. A variety of wonderful artists. If I'm not mistaken, we have, here we are. Let's see, cover art is Charles Lang. Front piece art, Val Smikes. And interior art, a variety of people. Ian Bagley, Jonathan Bingham, Charles Lang again, Peter Mullen, Russ Nicholson, Glenn Seal, Val Semix. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that properly. Jason Schultes, Logan Talanian, and Del Tigler or Tiegler. and also Glenn Seal having the honor of being the artist for the huge, gigantic map of Hyperborea, which I can't even put on here. Look it up. Look it up online and behold the wonderfully artistic hand of Glenn Seal's cartography. So, for those who don't know what Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea are, and I'm just going to call it ASH from this point in time, is a love letter. This is my opinion, a love letter to AD&D. And very similar to what OSC is, a rather cleaning up and reorganization of the rules, but not for a generic fantasy, but to exist within this fully realized world of Hyperborea, which in itself is a love note to the wonderful world of Conan, Robert E. Howard, and all the others who came after and provided all the wonderful stories that we have for the sword and sorcery genre. And this particular book is so big because it's essentially cut up between two books. There's the player side, which takes up half of it, and then the game master side, which takes up the other half, along with a rather large introductory adventure in the back, which I have played through some of. Yep, that looks familiar. In this campaign, and also ran a bit of it a while back for my son and his friends. But it is a D20 system, descending armor class, for those who aren't in the know of that, but very similar to THAC0. Combat is done in phases, just like AD&D was, and a couple of things that we've done over the period of playing is we've tweaked it a little bit, and I know there's going to be changes coming for 3rd edition regarding the combat, but in a crunchy system like this, it is as crunchy as you want it to be, because not everything in here is necessary to play. It's just there to provide you with some extra options if you choose to. And this still could be a generic, just roll your 20 and see what happens, with the minor amount of special abilities that come with the classes and subclasses. But there are options for advanced rules in here, which make it so much more spectacular, so much like what sword and sorcery should be, as pulpy as you want it to go. A large variety of classes and subclasses, the standard classes being fighter, magic user, cleric, and thief, and subclasses just kind of run the rampant of the different types that are available to you. There is a magic system in place. Magic, like in most sword and sorcery games, extremely dangerous, extremely volatile, and not really recommended for the weak of heart. Like other old school games, this is also one that is very deadly. I am on my 3rd character, and out of the group of, six guys, I believe there's only one who has his either original or 2nd character that's been going strong for a year. All of us have recycled through a couple. But for the most part, we haven't had a death recently, and fingers crossed it stays that way. The variety of different gods, once again, most of them are an homage to the existing gods within Robert E. Howard's world. Variety of equipment, and so on and so forth through the different spells. And we'll just kind of, just like I said, just doing a quick little flip through. I guess some of you know exactly what that is just by looking at the picture of it. So, as mentioned, combat is done in phases, which incorporates a variety of different movement options, different combat options. What happens in combat is tiered. This is definitely one of the systems where timekeeping within the game, both on a monthly, weekly, daily, and also within the game itself as you play it, is recommended to get the full experience that it's providing. But you could still gloss over some of it. Wonderful Cthulhian type mythos creature here. Probably have fought one of those in the past and died horribly and painfully. Um, so, you know, and as you increase in the game, as far as in, melee and different abilities, the amount of actions that you get, it increases during the different phases. It takes a bit of getting used to, but like riding a bike, once you get it down, it becomes second nature, and we tend to roll right through it. Um, Class level saving throws. I'm sorry, leveled saving throws, I should say. Um, Aerial combat, which we have not gotten to yet. Naval combat, which we've touched on slightly. Strongholds, just like a lot of the old school D&D games. One of the highlights and goals for your characters is to eventually either build or obtain a stronghold, and all the accrements, don't care, that come with it. And then this one also has warfare and siege options, which I think was something we may be touching on when we get back to our game, which has been put on hold for a bit due to the summertime vacation schedule of some of the people. The wonderful bestiary, which has quite a few of your standard D&D monsters, but also some that are more tailored towards the sword and sorcery aspects. Some you may be familiar with, the albino apes, something that straight from carnivorous apes, straight from the pages of Conan. And one of these automatons, chimeras. One thing to note about this game that I didn't touch on, that it is human based. There are no fantasy sub races, or additional races, I should say, or whatever you want to call it. Lineages. But there's no elves, no dwarves, no halflings, none of that, as far as in a player character sense within this game. But there's quite a variety of options as far as where you're playing from within the world, what part of the world that you're playing in. None of them really have no huge bearing. They don't provide any bonuses through your stats that I remember, but they may give you options for being how tall you are, how short you are, how much you weigh, and various various reactionary scenarios depending on where you're from and if it conflicts with where you're at in the world. Variety of demons, and there we go. And this is a sign of sword and sorcery to me. Is the moment that when fantasy involves Cthulhian horrors and abominations and puts them to the forefront. That is a sign that you, at least to me, you're playing not in a standard vanilla fantasy game, you're playing in a sword and sorcery game. And this is probably running a bit long. So, this is running longer than I expected as I ramble on, so we'll wrap this up here. As mentioned, just a huge bestiary, and this is part of the GM section of the book. In the new Kickstarter that's coming out, they are dividing this into a player section and a GM section, which is nice because your only option was to either purchase this whole book or get just a player's handbook. So there really wasn't an option to just get a Game Master section, but there will be when the Kickstarter comes out. And we just have a variety of additional things regarding Game Masters. The magic items and treasure within this game are absolutely insane. We have a variety of things that rotate around the sci-fi fantasy area when it tends to merge with sword and sorcery, radiation grenades, laser crossbows, just technology that may have existed in the before the Hyperborean age or when the Hyperborean age existed, and then have somehow survive the centuries for meddling adventurers like us to find. Rare, far and few between, but once we get them, they become very powerful, and same with the actual magic items. And then Gazetteer regarding the world, history about it and whatnot. I'm not going to linger long on this because this actually is probably spoilers for me also. And then on to the adventure, Moss Hag. There's a reason why that name makes me shake and cringe, but I'm not going to get into it here. Let's just say it's a good thing my character who met the Moss Hag has passed away. And then a wonderful image in the back by Mullen, just kind of just the weird and odd and somewhat gonzo, but not as much as DCC would be. And then the beautiful back cover of a warrior standing against a wall of aberration. So that is Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea. Obviously, this is something that a lot of people will not be able to get themselves. You can get the PDF. If you can get the PDF, I highly, highly recommend it. You can always print out what you need or take it to a place like Staples and print it out for a decent amount, a lot less than what the book's going to cost you. If the book does happen to come up on sale for the around the retail price, I would highly recommend grabbing it. But also, if you can't and you're able to get on to the Kickstarter, do it. Do it, do it, do it. You will not be at all unhappy with the results when these books finally come in December, I believe. Around Christmas time, it will be a fantastic holiday gift for you, your family, and your gaming friends. And once you delve into the world of Ash, or Hyperborea as it's going to be called in the other book, it's a place that you will want to exist in and never want to leave. So if I think about it, I'll throw some information down in the Wang Dang Doodle down below on the YouTube thing. But anyways, thank you for taking a moment for me to kind of sit here and blather on. I'm surprised I didn't get verklempt in the middle of it, because it is it's a bit of an emotional thing to talk about. But anyways, this is Scott and my completely unprofessional unboxing, filled with the usual jibber jabber and blah 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 blah-ing. So everyone have a wonderful day, and this is the day before the 4th of July. So those of you in the United States, or outside the United States but still celebrating it, please be safe, be smart, and still try to have fun and enjoy yourself. Take care.